All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Let's try to smooth out those rough roads. All right, so on algorithm on that site, possibly, but again, if it is, it's kind of inconclusive. But if it is, they're trying to make it more subtle, right? I mean, it could just be happenstance. A couple of the searches looked out of place. Now, this is a requirement that you should require of all porn sites, I guess, in the United States or globally, if anybody else is looking. On the report button, they should be able to report without logging in. Because most people will not report if they have login if they don't log in. So I clicked on a report button and it asked me to log in, which means I have to make an account. Right. So what I would do, thank you, Larry. Hang on. I would make, I don't know how you're going to regulate that, I guess, through the same system. I guess you made a law, right? Or actually, you're making state laws, right? Okay, but maybe they should make a federal law, right? So on the report, every porn site needs to have a report button, right? Especially ones like Pornhub, X Hamster, and there's a couple others, right? It wasn't 100%. It would, I'm just going to report it, see how it works, what their system is, right? Actually, I would say probably not, but it's just have an abundance of caution. I was going to report it, right? But it said you have to put in an account. So again, that's going to cause an issue with reporting because it needs anonymous reporting, right? And that way it'll work. And maybe that's a scam kind of thing, knowing that certain people or a certain percentage of people won't report suspect pornography if they have to register or not register, but have to be logged in to report. Again, then they get less reports that way, and something might get through, right? Thank you, Larry. I slept without my air purifiers on. So now it's going to drain. So it still seems like part of the issue is that ablation therapy would take care of it. Now, it's 4 years later since I was going to do the test, so I don't know if it'll work. Because if it's too far gone, then it doesn't work. Right. Because what it does is it triggers your back to tighten up. Going, like the nerves operate down. And when I try to explain this to somebody, it's like they don't understand it, but it was explained to me that if your back senses like you're falling, it'll tighten up your back. So if your lower lumbar gets worn, it could trigger going up your back, right? No, we shouldn't be here 4 years later. I should have been able to take care of it. But meanwhile, I had police department after police department harassing me. Right. I mean, this is what they were blocking. I couldn't even see all of it. Right. So there's people at the top that are spy masters. Now, these people have to know they're not supposed to be harassing me. Right. I'm disabled. There's no doubt. Right. So again, the best thing you can do right now is get my VA money. You've heard my complaints. Enough people in places of positions of government have heard it. It should have made it to the VA, Inspector General. The law states, this is not some crazy veteran. The law states, I didn't even see it until now. I mean, I knew what it said, but I didn't realize this is a law, and they're not adhering to the law. The law states that there is a presumption that they're trying to shift because they're nervous. Right? There is a presumption, which means it's presumed that somebody that comes into the VA that was in the Persian Gulf has Persian Gulf syndrome to one degree or another. See, they threw in one degree or another. No, the guy denied everything. He even tried to talk me into some other bullshit. I mean, they're paying $1 million so I don't get VA disability, an increase. I mean, come on. Right. Thank you, Larry. What happens is on these porn sites, just so I let you know real quick, there's like a still photo, like a thumbnail, and this thumbnail, I don't know if it's made to appear that way, right, or whether it's just happenstance, will look like a young girl, underage. And then when you go to the video, it's just like somebody in their 20s or something. Right. Just like a young appearing face. But it looks like the image may have been altered, but I'm not sure. Right. Which again, at that point, the still image, the thumbnail, if it was altered based upon current laws, that would be child pornography. Right. Thank you, Larry. Or I guess that's what they call it. Because it's an image made to, because we do AI, right, and all that as far as being legal. Right. But that's possible, yeah. Maybe the still was altered by AI. Right. Because I don't know if you can choose it or not, but you may be able to choose the what thumbnail you use. Right. Thanks, Larry. So look at the thumbnails. There's another one. Look at the thumbnails, and I guess anybody that investigates this probably has clicked through on some of those. Right. So look at the thumbnails, and if you can prove the thumbnail was altered, I guess the way to do it is to run it through. I guess I don't know if you have a computer that does that. You got to have a lot of image analyzing computers in that field of study or field of investigation today. Right. So, thank you, Larry. So you develop a process where you can take a still photo and the computer analyzes the film to see if it's in the film or in the video. Because if it's been altered, then that's considered, right? Thank you, Larry. Considered child pornography. Thank you, Larry. No, because I've told him before, I said make sure you watch a video from end to end, right? It's difficult. I mean, I don't always do that either. Right. Thank you, Larry. Because they'll slip it inside. They'll put like child porn sandwiched between regular porn, especially in like a compilation, right? So it's the same kind of idea, I guess, where they take a still and they have have it modified to look like a child, right? And then when you look at the video, it's not a child. Yeah. Thank you, Larry. But the still is still prosecutable and removable. So, right. No, I didn't look much at it. I just looked, kind of said that, I'm going to still report it. Because I actually wanted to see the report system more so than anything else. And I kind of got to I clicked on it and it wanted me to log in. So I'm like, I don't know if they're intentionally doing it. And again, maybe if somebody's, I guess what they don't want to happen is the person uploads it and then reports it or something like that, right? But they should not have that. The report system, uh, for, I guess, whatever reason, the questionable pornography or whatever a person would say on the report system, should be without a login. Thank you, Larry. Well, I can't. It was so subtle. If it was them trying to steer me, right, that it's inconclusive, really. And maybe they're doing that on purpose. I don't know. It kind of changed what I was looking at, and it looked like maybe it was trying to move me back. Right. Yeah, it was pretty a weird night. Like I said, my stomach wasn't too good last night, but I did have sufficient sleep to a certain degree. Correct. Thank you, Larry. It was in like the three parts, but I did sleep, and the last part was long enough that it was pretty deep and everything. So yeah, I think it's the weather and my apartment, and I need to get my money. I need to get out of here, and that's about it. And I'm not manic. I just need to go somewhere. Right. Thank you, Larry. I mean, I have pain now, but it's not as much pain as I had for a certain period of time. It's very, disconcerting because I had pain, but it wasn't. It was like, but I couldn't stay like that. I couldn't stay cramped like that because they say if sometimes the best thing to do is just leave it cramped, but I couldn't do it. Right, making me so sick, and I walk a lot off kilter. So it looks okay. I mean, it's just there might be some process, like the ablation might work, or maybe I need surgery. But it would have been better if the cops weren't harassing me. And I have no idea why all of a sudden I can actually wake up. You know, obviously, the closer Trump came to being elected, maybe they ran off. Maybe they were Democrats. I don't know, right? Or put in office, as far as being put in office, right? Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Now, these people, definitely narcissists, and a cop should know that they shouldn't be psychologically operating me, right? Well, yeah, I guess I could have been drugged the whole time, and maybe it's harder to drug me because I'm in my apartment so much. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, the big problem is, okay. So if it's your lower back, you have that issue. I mean, it could be triggered by my lower back, but you have the issue just going down your legs, right? What happens to me is my upper back tightens up, and then I have that. So that's the ablation. Well, what happened is I was cramped up and I couldn't uncramp, so I couldn't see much. And again, I scheduled an appointment for. It wasn't this. It was just they numb the nerve and see how it works. First on one side, then on the other, and I should have had that, and that may have been the answer. Thank you, Larry. That's also, why people have orthotics and stuff like that, because if they don't wear them, then that kind of happens, right? But I definitely, if I get out of here, I'll be doing better. Right? Yeah, I was tortured somehow in relation to cleaning my apartment. I can tell. I just don't understand, how it could happen. I guess without me knowing, but I imagine every time I cleaned my apartment, they tortured me. Or I analyzed it. Right. That's how they did it. And if I like leave it go and it gets dirty, then they don't torture me. I'm trying to break through that now. This is what they're doing. They're telling you they're doing something else. No, I'm definitely got much more issue than I did when I got here. I mean, just continue to do it throughout somebody's life, and so they get paid big money to do it. I mean, like I told you, there's no way they can say any of that's safe. But when you say it, they go, "Well, you're so dangerous that it doesn't matter if it's safe or not." There's no way that their operations are safe. They're killing people, man. Disabling and killing people continually. Like it's not enough that they disable you. I mean, these people are sick, man. And again, I could have been drugged the whole time on top of it. They're trying to will stuff right now. It's making them uncomfortable. Whoever's watching, they're part of it. I mean, this is not like a fight over a woman. I mean, they'll dumb it down to that. Oh, he's just mad because you couldn't have sex with that woman or be with this. It has no. I mean, they're torturing you. Like I told them, do what you do, but don't take my help. Right. No, they purposefully took my health. Purposefully with a known system that takes health. No, I didn't say anything in the beginning. I didn't even know much in the beginning. Oof. So again, the law is that there is a presumption. Don't listen to them. I don't need to move through the system. They went into the system, adulterated my VA files and my VA disability request in approximately 2012, 2013. And then obviously something was done when Trump was president, 2000, I guess 17, 18. In 2009, I guess 2018, and then 2019, the decision was rendered, and then I moved off to, and like if they had given me disability, I may not have moved off to Texas. Right? So you need to get it done real quick. I demand it today, and God will react to it. Now, again, there's a responsibility for the Trump administration or the Republicans to take care of that. Whoever you put in to take care of it, right? If you don't, you'll make mistakes. Again, I'm not in control of that. God is. I have no obligation to say I don't want money because I need it. Now, they would operate me all throughout my life when I had to make a life decision, a choice. But again, it's spycraft. Thank you, Larry. So there's no choice. They change your decision because they're stalking me, so they can first figure out how to manipulate with psychology. So I mean that a decade or more, and they figure it out. And it's not because the person committed a crime. Right. Again, remember I told you that I'm reading what they're wanting. So that's what happened this morning. I shifted to go with what they wanted. But when I'm there, I just investigate just like I investigate other places. Right. No, I didn't like Google child pornography. In fact, that didn't come up till I was there, right? But when I saw it, I said, "Oh, okay, that's their thing," right? Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. And in fact, I don't think there was any there. Like I said, the thumbnails look like it. Which there's a couple things there, right? And again, they might be prosecutable if it was altered by AI. Thanks, Larry. What I'm trying to do is get this place cleaned up before I finish my antibiotic for the sinus infection. So maybe because that's maybe what's causing the extra discharge. Okay, so what they're trying to do is get me to run off like I did Monica Maurice, because that's what they get paid to do that. Like I just go and leave my apartment like a homeless person. Right. Again, you need to stop them. They're here minding my business. And they're saying business. See, that's another will of theirs. They're minding, which means they're using will and witchcraft to harm another person. And they're using their access, most likely through law enforcement or intelligence, to do it. Thank you, Larry. They're narcissists and they're stuck. They're just, they can't do anything. They need to. The weird part is they're causing mental illness in everybody else. Like we know that a narcissist will cause mental illness in their victims. So they're running around the United States. Who knows how many people they've done it to? Right. Saying that this person's the worst of the worst. Right. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. And they're causing their victim to have mental illness, and that's known that an unchecked narcissist will cause mental illness in their victim. No, I don't know if Donald Trump fits narcissist. They're actually saying he's something else. I don't know if it is or not, but he's a victim of the similar thing that I'm a victim of. But he's got a lot of money, so his outcome was a little better. Well, they trigger him. It's kind of strange that Don Jr. has the triggered thing. I noticed this back before he was elected, right? Even though I was backing other people during the election, I noticed things. And again, if I had backed Donald Trump, he probably wouldn't have won. Whoever is manipulating this, and it could be Russians, right? Thank you, Lars. No, our elections might be. Again, he ran a great campaign, so that's part of it, right? But if the machines came against him to whatever that is, again, could be the Russians and the Chinese, right? But it only kind of works in the election period, or for the election. When you get into office, the thing doesn't work. So what it does is it makes people just angry at the incumbent. And of course, they would want that, this change out turmoil, right? Foreign spies wouldn't want any continuity in the presidency. Thank you, Larry. And again, I don't know. It could be metaphysical, but I know at a certain point, if I back a candidate, they kill the candidate. And I mean, like if it's metaphysically or metaphorically, right? Okay. Yeah, I just was reminded that I didn't put. See, it's also what they're doing. They're blanking my mind a little bit on medication. So it's a spell, and it just yeah, I didn't put some stuff on my back that relaxes my back. Right. So it's tightening up a little bit more now. So again, the idea is if I put steroid in there, it might relax it enough to not do that and not have to keep putting that stuff on there. Right. Thank you, Larry. So I believe if you take a still photo and you might, you probably have the capability or a capability to put something together real quick with what you have, because I know you have people that probably make apps and things, right? Analytical apps. So, oh no, it just clicked out. I guess it would know whether uh, if it's in like it might even know if it was altered. I guess you have that capability, right? Like photoshopped or well, I guess Photoshop could be a form of AI, right? For photos, still photos, right? Yeah, it would be hard. You could. I don't know if it's prosecutable. I guess unless you can put together a case somehow. But it's definitely. I think it would be definitely be removable. I don't know if you have to force a law with it. I don't know. Well, it's just if it's not in the photo or not if the photo is not direct if it's altered if it's altered from the if it's form in the video. I mean, why? And it looks like a younger person. I mean, why else would they do it? Right. Right. Again, sitting inside is probably not healthy either. Right. So, but if it's not in the, and then I mean, it could be in the video just as a still. I don't know, and maybe it is. I don't know. Right. But it's still if it was altered, then it would be illegal. So hopefully, Doug Collins, you can contact Collins or contact somebody and get that done. Right. So again, it's kind of like our forgotten veterans, our Desert Storm, Persian Gulf War veterans. The law is not being followed by the VA. And it's probably not only me. It was just designed for that. Right? And the load on the disabled veterans has increased since I put in for it. Right? So again, we were supposed to have this much earlier. And like I said, I didn't run off and just go, I got Persian Gulf syndrome. I was told by people that based upon what they know about Persian Gulf syndrome, it looks like I have it. Right. But I managed it. Again, the idea that I have to get to the gym, I have to take my supplements, I have to stay healthy, and that was actually a treatment plan back then. Now the deep state came against that, including massages. I mean, they just should have been forced to stay away so I could mind my treatment and whatever else I needed. I mean, it's horrible to wake up 3 years later, 4 years later, and figure out they did this. And includes law enforcement and fire people. It doesn't make it right that it's done, even if they thought they were doing something right, because there's a reality of what they did. No, I believe they did it for hurtful and hateful reasons. Why would they do it? Because they're narcissists, man. They're stone cold, sicko narcissists. And I really don't find Trump necessarily a narcissist because then they'll go, well, Trump's a narcissist too. He's reacting to psychological torture over the years. Right. That's what all this is. Donald being Donald like that, right? But I go through it sometimes, right? But I have a little more leeway, and I'm more damaged. Like if I had any money, they wouldn't have been able to do this to me, right? And they knew it. Again, these are spy masters. These are people that some of them were actually trained to go around the globe and do this for our government. Thank you, Larry. No, they should have never been allowed to do this, man. I mean, I just don't get it. I'm really the best of the best, right? Worked with. It involved people I worked with. It's insane. I mean, to think that they could spend decades just putting people in to do this to me. I mean, obviously, some innocent people are in there, but they're few and far between. Correct. I mean, I don't even know what to do, to tell you the truth. I'm stuck. And that's what they wanted. They wanted to trigger enough things to cause this. This because that's what they're doing. They're not protecting anyone. And again, their goal is for me to be violent or to be subservient to their desires to look at child porn or something like that, or have sex with a black man. That's where their mind is. Remember I told you my coworkers used to sit around with a Maryland state trooper who was a background investigation guy. He'd do the polygraph and all that. And their joy was to hear his stories about somebody couldn't pass the polygraph because they asked him a question, did you ever have sex with an animal? And it came up as them lying when they said no. And again, polygraphs, sometimes they're false. Right? But I mean, they were so into it. Like this was the joy of their life. Ha ha. Right. I mean, obviously that guy shouldn't have been telling them that. Right? Because nobody should know that even happens during the polygraph at the state police for employment. Thank you, Larry. But this is the quality of people that are attacking my life. I'm running around trying to do my job, and that's what they do, sit around screwing off, laughing. Because we had contract guards that would come in. They're police officers generally. Right? And they'll come in and we'll hire them. It's federal agents. That's who puts the cops in. Spies and federal agents put the cops in. And there's also criminal enterprise. It's all linked. Right. They're trying to put the inference in that it was only cops. Right. That's a scam. It's only them. No, it's only them. No, it's only them. I mean, it's the quality of people. I mean, it was just insane. And they laugh like I'm trying to get all the work done that nobody else is doing. And sometimes it was assigned to me, an additional workload. There's a possibility that there's ultrasonics or something like that, or direct energy being used on me in this apartment. Not constantly, but on and off. Again, I can't tell you if it is or isn't. Thanks, Larry. Kind of it looks like a brainwashing thing. And again, when Elon got satellites, I don't know, right? And I'm not making an accusation. I'm saying this is how you investigate it, like I say everything else. Right? Might not even be Elon. Somebody could be putting it on a satellite. I have no idea how to break through this. I really don't. Block on cleaning my apartment. I think I'll get there today. They actually might be putting that in my head, whether it's metaphysics or physical. I can't tell you. Right. I actually have the broom right here. And when I'm done broadcasting, I'll be taking care of it. So what I need is, again, everything that I was doing to say, well, they hit. They'll say there's a reason for it, but it's all bullshit. Right? They include the gym. I needed to be in the gym. I needed to be at massage. I needed several things to stay well. But they're torturing me, so I'm not. It's hard to stay focused on anything other than relieving the pain of the torture. Correct. And that's where the aversion comes from. And we're talking about decades, man. I mean, 5 years after I left the government, you should have thought about something. Correct. Like, isn't this too long? I mean, actually, in the last 4 years, he's walking, like he's healthy enough. I mean, you got homeless people out there just walking the streets all day, and they're not healthy. Right. He's not disabled. He's just a criminal. Again, I'm a combat veteran, and I was in the thick of that particular conflict. Again, you need to take care of what I'm asking you to take care of. Now they're trying to will something up about the CEO shooter to try to put me in with that. Again, that's how they do this. Again, their minds are moving and I can read it. I'm a proven psychic. And is it perfect? No psychic is perfect. Right. So they're going to, you can't give him money because he's dangerous like the CEO shooter. This is the kind of shit they do. No, your minds are being manipulated. Trump's being manipulated. So again, they tortured him and they're triggering him. Right. Thank you, Larry. They've tortured him over the years and they're triggering him. And Elon, they're doing the same thing. And then they fire us. So what's happening is you all have a goal and they're destroying your goal. I mean, this is what they do all the time, but it's a little more obvious now. Right? It's a deep state. I mean, a deep state could be sitting in the White House right now. I mean, spies implant themselves all across the United States. I mean, all across, I'm sure of that too, but all across the globe. Right? Whatever nation. Then they could look like your best person. Thank you, Larry. Again, it's a little bit too dirty for me even to allow somebody in to help clean. Or for sure, I'd have spent money already, even though I don't have it. I put it on the charge card. So if you're going to rescue somebody, I'd be the guy to rescue and get me some money. They're not even letting my thing be seen. My GoFundMe. Correct. I mean, you're just sick people, man. Yes, they are. So there's a lot of people coming up looking like they know I exist. Right. But again, they could be told to say those things. And of course, some of it's happenstance. Right. I mean, it's time. It's very easy to get that VA taken care of. They isolated me and then figured out, when I reached out through social media, then they figured out how to isolate me while I was on social media. And then they claimed some outrageous shit, right? Like he raped his kids. I mean, this is the kind of shit they did to take it all down to a certain level. No, they've been killing me quite a bit in recent months. I mean, you have to stay away from me, all of you, and you have to get me the money. If you don't want to do it, then I'm sure there'll be tragedy. I mean, the administration's screwing up already. I mean, worse than they can imagine. You all have in your mind that you're going to succeed and muscle something, but it's not going to work. The court is not ignorant. It knows you're trying to thwart checks and balances. I mean, you even had Elon and Vivek speaking about it, or I guess talk is cheap because it was bullshit. That there is no check and balance within the executive branch. In other words, you do what you're told and that's it. That doesn't exist. And you're actually trying to do that. And the court knows you're trying to do that. So they're not going to hold back. They're not going to go, ooh, pardon us, you made a law that says we can't check the president. I mean, is that what you're going to do, all of you? Right. I mean, what kind of law can ICE make? He's going to give Elon a background investigation. That what the lawsuit is about is what the real qualifications are. It's obvious that the president can grant access, but the question is whether it's lawful to grant that access. And again, it's just like DACA. It was like they agreed it's an illegal program. I'm not saying it's the same argument, but I'm just giving you the idea that you think your argument might work, but then again, it doesn't. I was surprised that they agreed it was an illegal program, but they said because you had that program, anybody on it is grandfathered in and you can't get rid of them. So your arguments aren't necessarily going to work because the court has already said that there's other, in its analysis, there's other considerations. Thank you, Larry. Well, it's kind of like I'm in a trick bag, because if I reach out to Charisse, she's Democratic Party, she really doesn't have all that much sway with the administration, right? And then they'll say, oh, he's reaching out to a Democrat and causing trouble, because this is what they're like. Correct. And again, your minds, are pretty much dumbed down to accept whoever says stuff like that. Right? Now I'm really stuck. Right. I mean, I was stuck the whole time, but I couldn't see it. Thank you, Larry. They had me all screwed up. And again, they probably made me sicker too. Who knows what they're using? I know they're using psychology, but there's possibility of surreptitious drugging. I wish it was kind of a month later. It'd have been a lot easier to go through this. Okay, they're putting in my mind now that I will not let them in the apartment and I don't have to clean it. That's not going to happen. Right. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Okay, what I'm seeing right now is a lot of pain and tragedy, but I can't heal it. Thank you, Lawrence. No, it isn't Satan this time, it's God. Like with Trump, when I couldn't get... So what happened is I saw a vision of Donald Trump kind of with the blood on his face. It was at a rally, and I tell you, it was weird because it wasn't that same rally. It was an indoor rally. But it was just like a kind of still photo. It was Donald Trump and like spider webbing of blood. And it was back before the day before the shooting in Butler. And the background was a rally, but it looked like one of the indoor rallies. But it wasn't like a big photo. It was just a small photo like a thumbnail of it kind of deal, right? And first thing Satan said, "You're not going to tell anybody, are you? He deserves it," or the inference was he didn't. It wasn't that it said he deserves it. It's just the inference was that. And like for a second, I was like, "Yeah," and they're like, "No." All right. Thank you. But I was in the middle of I had like two pieces of wood in my hand or something that I had to cut. I was in the middle of a project. So I said, I'll get to it when I get through this project. And I'll tell you, everything just got dark and it's just so weird. And my sinuses are draining. And it just got so weird. And I remember trying to post. And I think at one point my internet was off, or I discovered my internet was off, and it was just one debacle after another. And eventually I just forgot about it. And it wasn't only that post. There were other posts that day that didn't get posted. So again, that was Satan blocking me. But again, if you would have helped me in life, I would have seen that. I'd have been up higher. I'd have been, been better able to do that. But I mean, that also tells me all those other times in the prior years that I brought it up were valid. Right. So again, somebody may have been running me in the ground all day from MAGA saying he isn't any psychic. He's not a psychic. Again, willing it on top of that. And then it failed. That's why you don't let them do this. Well, Donald Trump lived, but I believe it was a message to him. He doesn't understand it. Right. Or maybe he does. He just needs to, like I said, he needs to repent and change. And again, if I say you need to repent, God could be trying to send the message to repent, and then his life gets better. And I repent in my life over time. I'm not asking him to do something that I haven't done. Right. So again, like there's a system. And if he repents kind of neutrally, the system might elevate him. But again, he's been psyoped to not do that kind of thing. Right. God bless you, Larry. Yeah, it's the big failure of my Secret Service psychic capability. I was horrible. I was just all of a sudden, it's like this dark cloud ascended over me. Right. And I just couldn't get anywhere. And like, I think even cutting the wood didn't work. Right. And eventually I just, because it was so weird, I forgot about it. And then I got kind of well the next day, but I never remembered it. Like to do it in the morning or something. Obviously, if I'd have said that, you'd have arrested him. And again, I understand that possibly that's already happened. Like when I say something, you find somebody and you track them or deter them or whatever it is you do. Right. Like I said, it's time for me to receive my disability. It's overdue. Well, if I had that money, I could get out of the trick bag I'm in, and that's for sure. And I would have had money had they not done this in my life. Right. So it's kind of a quick way to pay at least partial damages. Right. Agreed. And it's not like I'm going to go out and have a party life, and I never would actually. That's not my style. Right. I just return my life to maybe having a small home. That's what I would have done. Right. and just living a kind of normal life. Let's not forget this happened for like 30 years. It was an increasing fervor because it grew. It's a deep state. And in essence, they're some of the deep states advising the administration because they're hidden, they're secreted. Might be one of your operators, even Elon Musk. Elon Musk could have. There could be operators protecting Elon Musk that are deep state, and they're killing him, having him commit Harry Carey. They could be drugging him. I don't know. He didn't look to. It didn't look like he had attacked the judge. It looked like he attacked the ruling. But he's got to be careful. Right. And again, judges have a way of getting at you without you. Well, what you're in the election mode still. You're gonna turn the judge into a Biden, but it's probably not going to work because the judge doesn't have to be elected. The judge already is, and the judge can check you. Right. If you draft a law to limit the judge, it's going to fall on its face. Because I saw Darrell Issa like, well, we're going to take care of this. I'm going to introduce legislation next week to limit that judge or something like that, but you can't, right? And you shouldn't even say it. Well, because who do you think sees it? All the judges. I told you that because of your efforts to minimize the ability to be checked and balanced, or the efforts of whatever, Kismet, right, that the judges will probably pick up. But you can't limit it. You can't limit that check and balance. And it is a limited check and balance. But at a certain point, if you keep messing around, they'll hold you in contempt and put you in jail. Actually, a judge could put the president in jail. They actually could. Now, the Supreme Court would probably say no. Right. But I don't see that the president. I see it would be somebody like Elon. Elon actually has no real protection. He's not a government employee. He would actually, the president could take care of him, but legally, if the president doesn't have a mechanism to help him, he could be sued and be responsible for all of it on his own. Right? He's like a contractor. Right? Contractor, you have to carry their own insurance. Right? That's why the government sometimes uses contractors, so that they're not on the hook for anything. They have to worry about it. Right? I mean, obviously, Trump would probably protect him and find some way to cover it. Right. So Elon could get in a lot of trouble off of this. So what they do is, one of the things is they try to make you feel like it's your fault that they're doing this. Right? They'll get you to, again, it's like Trump, the whole Epstein thing, right? Some other people, they invested in something and were an insider, and it looked, there's some lawful mechanism or some unlawful action in the investment, and they get snagged in, and what is throughout their lifetime, they'll say, we know about this, and this is why we're doing it. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, there's no doubt that I'm having trouble sleeping, and that could cause just additional effects to the torture. And they love it. That's why they cause health problems. I mean, this is who these people are. This good person that they supposedly are does not exist. Again, when they're a narcissist, and then they'll go, well, Trump's a narcissist. No, Trump's not a narcissist. He's tortured, and he's triggered to react to the torture. which could be, harming somebody, right? But a narcissist will look wonderful in front of you. That's their goal, to look like the savior of the world in front of you while they're harming other people. So again, if you get me somewhere, I can do this better. I can take care of the issues. Again, I'm not harming you by yelling at you. That's actually a mechanism to get you up again, maybe so your mind will clear. Because if there's no negative thing, then you're not ruled. It's in the system. You have to be kind of ruled. That's why you'll hear me say, "Well, I had to be ruled." It's not fair, but it's the system, right? But again, the totality of what they're doing is not. Well, ruling is killing me. No, she had reason to do it. They're narcissists, man. Again, if they tell you they have no reason to do it to me, that's a narcissist thing. They're narcissists. There's a reason for them to do it, right? No, it's narcissists seek out narcissists in the government. It just goes like that. Again, something may actually be putting them together. It could be a foreign intelligence service. Thank you, Larry. Again, it includes private sector people. So again, I can keep designing and redesigning everything, but you have to get me somewhere. Even if you're hiding me, you have to get me that money and get me somewhere. Or it's going to fail. And maybe you're a Democrat, go, it's going to fail. Or just don't care because this is what you do. You screw up everybody. Right. No, it's reality. I don't know if it's a spy that does that. It could be even Putin himself. I don't know. Right. But if I back somebody, they never get in. I mean, at a certain point, it flipped. It was obvious I had the capability to do that, to back somebody and get them in. So they manually something. I don't know if it's manual. I believe it's manual, but it could be just a will, right, for that person not to get in, because then they could use it against me, right? This time I used it. It backfired on them, right? I knew I was being tortured by Democrats. I knew I was being played, right? Thank you, Larry. So, well, they say Putin backs Trump, but they're putting Melania's porn up there, right? I mean, hopefully that's real. I mean, I read it. Hopefully I'm not reading something the deep state put up there, right? Or Russia posted her porn, so, right. Well, that's a spy manipulation. And I think what they're trying to do is force Trump into something. But they're using Melania as the trigger and that as the trigger. And it could be also, like I said, just trying to see if reactions, to see if there's something, is it worth going after, looking for something that's like hardcore porn or something, right? Or, maybe there is and nobody knows, and maybe it's been destroyed, right? But thank you, Larry. Just, we have it, kind of mentality, right? Just to trip her mind out. Like by putting 5-4, like I did something, right? While I was, Well, it comes from, I believe it comes from just an internet, what do they call that? Screen name that I had. But they tortured me around the number, so it kind of, right. I don't know for sure what it is, right. But I think it's just like a fishing expedition, and then they make that number the torture number, right. But I mean, 20 years later, after the government, they're still doing this shit to me. I mean, come on. Should have ended right with the government. Right. Or maybe even a year or two after. Well, the idea is I can't get to that better person to take care of all the stuff we need to get to, right? More powerful person with what they're doing. Because I can usher in peace much easier, right? Like any combat operation I advised on, it was an effort to bring peace, and could have if it had been done right, right. But again, I helped with the ISIS thing, right? And again, even just my presence. This is in the microphone slot because it came out. But like even my presence when I back something, so they'll try. Like right now, they're trying to get me to back something, and right. Now they're trying to come against me and say you went against Trump. Well, Trump's people killed me back when I was supporting him. See, this is what the inference was, that I wasn't backing the gangs. But then I wouldn't be the right kind of advisor if I had backed the gangs. Correct. And apparently something like a gang came after me. I mean, it's so crazy because like I'm better than Elon at everything, and I did a lot of that in the first administration. Actually, lining all that up. Like even the word of mind virus, that's my stuff. Right. They used all my stuff, but yet Elon gets billions of dollars, gets richer, and I get poor. Right. Thank you, Larry. I'm actually more powerful at repelling their will and shutting it down. Right. But again, I'm going through a lot of physical disability right now, so there's a lot there around it. 100%. They're kind of upset that I'm not continuing on with the psychologist counselor. Remember, I told you I got them when I had COVID. I started speaking to somebody, right? Well, because they love to see that. Go see he's getting a psychologist. When we grade this in our analysis, we see that he's got issues, and he's more dangerous now because he's seeing a psychologist. Yeah, because he's telling the psychologist what you did. Thank you, sir. No, I mean, there's just no reason for all of this to have happened. It's known that I was just simply looking for a normal life. Right. I mean, agents and officers have come and gone and known that. And then there was that hardcore group, right? The Karen Sheltons. That's who they are. But there are men in there and everything. And the Rick Henrys of every agency and department imaginable. Like right now, I'm trying to take some Nexium, and they're in my freaking head. Willingly. Because they've willed it. They don't have to sit here and taking the Nexium, where they could, maybe, because the phone's in front of me. Right. So I'm being willed down from taking that. Because they don't know for sure, but that could be what it is. I just need one more course of Nexium. Right. 100%. That doesn't mean that they didn't trigger something. It just means that, Nexium gets me out of it, maybe. Right. I mean, this is how spycraft works to kill someone. Again, torture them when they go to a doctor. Then one day they got cancer and they don't go to the doctor. Correct. Or they feel like, having a stroke or a heart attack. Right. Again, that's how they got me. Right. I probably should have went to a doctor sooner during COVID. But if they weren't around, I wouldn't have been in the predicament I was in. Right. Thank you, Larry. They shouldn't have been around me, period. There was no reason for them to be there. Again, I know how it works, and I can go to the scripture and see how it works. No, I can't. Somebody's asking me about that porn thing. They could be willing me just to bring it up again to make it look bad, because maybe they'll say the timing is suspect or something like that. Right. Again, I'm probably at the point where I have to get rid of a lot of my stuff. And I don't mind that, but I need the money to get forward. Right. Like, even if I don't get paid, if I have to give away my saw, and that's what they wanted on me. They wanted me to spend money. They wanted to run me around like a hamster on a wheel. Right. And then have it all fall apart. Been doing that for years, all of you. Every last one's been doing that since before I was in the Marshal Service. Actually before I was in the Marshal, but when I was in the Marshal Service. So every up becomes a down in life. They're manually operating the system, but the system is rejecting them. Look, I'll tell you right now. You can say I have issues. Of course I have issues. You've allowed them to do. The president has issues. Elon has issues. All right. So again, let's not play a game. All right. But I obviously am around God. I've obviously had spiritual beings and angels around me. And they try to comfort me as to what my life actually is. Because they're doing the evil ones are doing the reverse. Again, Satan, the accuser. Yeah, that 5-4 is Satan, the accuser. Within them, Satan incarnate. So of course they're narcissists. Of course they take over the church. Right. So I'm testing something right now. Okay, on the back side I have the camera covered. On the front I have not the camera covered. Right. And there's a giant wheel to stop me from cleaning. Now, of course, in this apartment, there could be cameras everywhere. So what their goal is to get me to just run out of my apartment screaming mad and just drive down the street and leave everything behind, like they did to Monica Maurice. The weird part is I bought new inserts, and I can feel that they're already kind of weepy. So again, they were great for the first day or two. I mean, they're probably okay, but not for the level of issue that I have. Now I got to clean the apartment. I got to focus. And again, there could be a camera in here. There's no doubt they've been in here. Right. I mean, this is reality of who they are. I'm not paranoid. 100%. They actually cursed me for saying that, so it could actually be. Well, things are dropping all over the place. And yeah, I never got all my projects done, but I got a lot of them done. Right. So they're very evil, all of you. I mean, they're going to try to paint the picture of salvation of the nation. So what they're doing is they're manipulating all this, and I've told you that. And Elon, hopefully he got the message that he's being manipulated and he has to be careful. Well, because you're othering like Elon's othering himself, which means this. You have the executive branch employees. He trashed them. Right. Now he's trashing the agencies. And then he's going to lump the judges in with that, or any judge that comes against him. He's off on a rail or a tangent. You're going to drive the judges. Again, I hope you're not harassing the judges with operators. You're going to drive the judges towards the people, the other people. Because you notice the Democratic Party attorney generals aren't saying anything. Thank you, Larry. Well, you're making yourself the other. Now Satan's trying to stop the conversation. That's what you do. No, right. I've helped people enough that they should have rescued me, and they know the only reason they don't rescue me is because the deep state would kill them. Okay, we're not here to play games. So this is telling me there's deep state around Trump, and again, they're manipulating. They can appear to be helping, but they're manipulating. They're manipulating all of us. Thank you, Larry. They see life differently, and again, a lot of people do, but they see it in manipulations, right? And people are saying Elon's like that, but he's a little different than the people I'm speaking, because Elon's not at their level of manipulation, because he's still being manipulated. Right. No, Elon's being manipulated. I've been there before. I mean, they do it to me. Right. Well, he just attacked the judge. I mean, okay, just flash back and go, well, those are losers. Well, you're putting yourselves in a trick bag. Go back to the prior administrations and what happens when the judge rules against them. That's where you're supposed to be. Well, because you're not going to draft laws that's going to limit a judge. It's in the Constitution. Right. If you do, it'll get shot down probably within days. Right. And if you try to change Elon's status, it's not going to work, because that's what the lawsuit's about. I mean, based upon Elon's admitted drug use, he would not be allowed access to where he is. Agreed. So again, that's a simple one. There's other stuff in there. Right. And we don't even know, or maybe they do, the drug use of the other people. Again, I believe if they're hackers, I mean, there could be an outside where they don't use drugs. But if somebody's name, I guess it was Big Balls or something, and they're a hacker affiliated with hackers, they use drugs. They're giving you enough rope to hang yourselves. Elon used drugs, though. He's not supposed to have access. Thank you, Larry. Again, that's part of the reason I left government, not drugs, but enough had happened in my life that it was going to limit my access over time, because the deep state had manipulated my life. Right. Again, it wasn't all me. There were people there trying to save my life because they knew they were trying to just fire me. But I mean, they knew what it took to cause all that. Right. Right. They knew I was a good Christian. They were hoping I'd become a Christian, go to church, and that was it. I mean, there were people that were probably backing me to be part of it, but they couldn't come out about it because why? Because the deep state would kill them. Right. If they had taken care of me. 100%. Right, really. Thank you, Lawrence. I mean, that's all it was. Everybody knew that it was, I was just trying to go to church. Again, they was always going to try to church and rape people because he already raped his kids. And we don't know how many others. I mean, it's kind of bullshit they use. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, sir. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm broadcasting while I'm cleaning, so I'm hoping this works. The weird part, it's satanic. I mean, completely satanic. Because right before I figured I had COVID, I started cleaning the apartment. And then went through that COVID thing. Now I can't. Now, they could have ended up brainwashing me somehow. Again, you can't always see what their movements are. Right.
Thank you, Larry.
I was just trying to find a woman and go to like be in a religious society. That was it. I mean, nobody learns scripture like I do by being a crook with crooked intentions. Right. If you study the people that are actually rapists and things in church, they're nobody like me. Right. The psychology's way off. Right. 100% worry. Because I abhor forcing sex on someone. I abhor it. Because I'm a victim of that. And over the years, I brought that up. Now, that may make the narcissist angry because, again, whatever happened with Trump happened with Trump. Okay? I believe he was manipulated. I believe he did things in life that he normally wouldn't do again. Same thing that I say about the deep state and all that stuff for everyone else. Right? So, again, Trump does there is a reason for Trump to receive the same consideration. Right? So we've all been manipulated. Right? Well, basically, I'm not trying to harm you, but Elon is not allowed to have access to that. I mean, you didn't even urine test any of them. You can get that done, I think, in a day or less. Right? You can have people that are high all day. Well, you have to understand. I explained the investigation process to you so you won't damage yourselves. Right? It's a very easy investigation. Elon admits to drug use, backs drugs. Right? Therefore, he's used drugs. We don't know about the other ones. Right, but we know about that culture. Right. So if Elon is a backer of all this drug use and he hires people and he has these young people in there, I mean, it looks strange. You got young boys around you practically, Elon. I mean, they're a little bit older, but right. Right. One of them's called Big Balls. I mean, a lot of us have things in our history because we've been manipulated, but the things, but the things that show up in a place like that, it's scary for the world. Right. Again, they say, how do we do this? How do we audit this without access? Well, the court designed the access for you already, in a pre-order. Again, I'm not trying to hurt any of you because the deep state will tell you I am. Right. In the order, if you find cleared people, they can continue the work. That's that simple. So there is a way to do the work. Although I think they may have said hold off till the hearing. Now, to all of you, there's a special circumstance, but you didn't articulate it to court. So again, this is where I'm telling you that your attorneys have to stop the bullshit and get to real work. Right? You can articulate that you didn't. I bet you didn't even articulate to the court anything as to why you have to get into there before next Friday. Now, I don't believe you need to destroy your stuff. I believe you can give it to a custodian. But I guess you're probably so paranoid you don't want to do that. Right. Thank you, Larry. But, you say, look, we got a budgetary negotiation coming up in March, and we need to get all this done so we know how much money we need. There isn't you can articulate an exigent circumstance to get into that database. But again, the way to get in the database is to present the court with cleared people. That's simple. I don't think that everybody that's cleared is a crook. Right. And you should have actually found people that were cleared that you could trust, right? You had how many months? You know, a year. I mean, there's people in government that I'm trying to explain it to you. You had people supporting you in government. They had to be silent about it a little bit because they'd get in trouble. But they're like, yeah, the government needs to be audited. We need to clean up this mess. But you come in there attacking all the government people who are simply part of a system because what usually happens, and again, it did happen. I mean, 10 years ago today, it was less corrupt. 20 years ago today, it was even less corrupt. Thank you, Larry. So they're sitting in a job that they have no choice. So the same like loyalty you're looking for, I guess, is even more. So you want an external loyalty, right? But you know that pressure existed in government, right, to a lesser degree, that you can't really speak out about the corruption, right? I mean, it's just the number of days. If you times the number of days by 20 years, it's immense. Every day they psychologically tortured me. I mean, if I stayed inside, it wasn't as bad, but you get on the internet, they're doing it. Right. Thank you, Larry. Again, what they're projecting now is a back and forth. You're going to get your money. You're not going to get your money. You're going to get your money. You're not going to get your money. Like they'll do it for like an hour or two, and then shift. It's not my brain. It's them. Right. That's the people stalking me. That's what they're doing. They're projecting that, spelling that, just to try to create an avoidance. Have it so annoying and confusing that I don't even want to think about it. But I need that money and I need it quick. So I need to get out of here. Kansas is a criminal. So you need, before you use anybody in Kansas, and you may have heard me, before you use anybody in Kansas, you need to, dot your I's and cross your T's as far as a background type of thing. You just have to get away from them. It's required.